Welcome to Zcast, everyone. I'm Zeus Caraval from ZK Research, and I'm here in Seattle at the AWS AI Summit. I'm with Eric Orme. You're the Prime Video VP of Live Sports or Product Engineering. Now we're in Seattle. It's Thursday. There's a Thursday night football game tonight, which means it's going to be on AWS or on Prime Video.
Yep.
And it's been about, I think, 7 years since you've been doing games. This is your third year exclusive. Talk about, first of all, your role.
Yeah.
But then about the medium itself and what makes Thursday Night Football unique because it's streamed versus traditional broadcast.
Yeah, sure. First of all, great to be here. Thanks for having me. We've been doing this for several years. My role really is for overseeing end-to-end, making sure that when we sign a deal all the way through delivering it, that all the different teams are coordinating, we're doing all the right things. I'm primarily responsible for all the engineering work that we do, as well as product, so defining the features, defining the experience, and then obviously collaborating with a lot of teams, including AWS.
Yeah, and so how is a streamed game different, though? Because I do know, the very traditional broadcast, you see all the TV trucks, and I'm sure you have all the same things.
Yeah.
But are there things that it allows you to do that you wouldn't be able to do if you had a normal traditional broadcast?
Yeah, for sure. In a traditional world, you're sort of like creating a production that everybody watches, has no interactivity. It's just like one for all. Whereas in the internet, there's a lot of different things, much more complicated, a lot less variables that you control, a lot of things you have to really think about and plan for. But it also gives you the ability to be a lot more interactive. And we feel like, over that period of time, over those 7 years, we've really proven the approach that we've taken, the technology we have. We feel like we have a world-class experience that our customers get to have every week.
Yeah, and so if I remember when you started, but I don't obviously remember what the broadcast was like back then. But if I were to go rewatch a Thursday Night Football game from 2017 for today, how different is that experience today, and what kind of things have you brought into that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, in 2017, co-exclusive, we weren't producing it, right? So we didn't really have control other than passing it through and doing everything we could once we got that feed to enhance it for our customers. Now that we control it end to end, we have a lot more flexibility in terms of the approaches we take. We built our trucks from the ground up, state of the art, the latest technology in the trucks. We think about redundancy, resiliency, scaling, very differently. I think than a lot of traditional broadcasters. We have to, and so over those 3 years, we've really demonstrated what customers really want. They just want to turn it on and it watches. So we've got an error-free experience that's flawless. Quality is really high. We're doing it in much higher resolution than we were before. We support thousands of different specific types of devices, which is also pretty big. We deliver in the U.S. for TNF, but we do this globally. Our services are scaled globally. And we do a lot of really cool features like defensive alerts and things like rapid recap, where if you drop into the game a little bit late, you can very quickly catch up with our key plays. We've just got different ways that we've been able to already, in just a short period of time, enhance that viewer experience that we couldn't do on a traditional broadcast platform.
Yeah, and as a fan, I certainly, especially one that does fantasy football, appreciate the rapid recaps because I need to know what's going on. Now, you talked about some of the challenges that you have, right? So obviously when you're doing it streamed, there's going to be things that are different. And what are some of the challenges you faced and how did you overcome those?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges. We built everything from the ground up, which has been very helpful. But some of the big challenges we have are just the internet in general. We work with thousands of different CDNs, for example, to deliver our stream. You've got to understand what's going on in those networks. You got to be measuring, in real time how customers' devices are performing, how their network is performing, or giving them an optimized bit of information as we're streaming. And you've got to control for all those things. You got to control for scale, which is very different. Helpful to have such a great partner like AWS that we're part of Amazon, where we can really leverage them a lot in terms of scaling compute services. We use well over 60 services every time you see a live event on our service, and we also at Amazon really obsess over our customers and obsess over the fans. We don't just do it during the season. We do it continuously. And so we think about how do we make sure that we're constantly testing our systems? How do we make sure that we're leveraging AS tools like fault injection to do chaos testing? And so we're year round proving ourselves every single day to make sure that what we deliver for customers is the best that we can.
Yeah, I guess the network part of that's interesting because when you deliver it over cable, everyone's got the same infrastructure.
Yep.
But here you're dealing with satellite, 5G, 4G.
People's networks that they made it, that they did themselves at home. Yeah. Very complicated.
Yeah, and now you talked about all the different Amazon products. You mentioned a couple, but can you go deep on some of the products and how they're used specifically for this type of broadcast?
Yeah, I mean, we use a variety of different products in the compute side. We're scaling on EC2 instances. We've got a lot of serverless computing we do for our services. We even use some of our, the EC2 outside of the Amazon AWS network, the portable kind that we can put on any different server. We do that so we can be really close, low latency. In the stadium, when you're seeing defensive alerts, we're very close to the data that we're getting from the NFL and from AWS Next Gen Stats. We need to be able to compute that really quickly, not necessarily make round trips. We use, obviously, from a networking side, Origin Shield, and we're, leveraging like DNS and all the, sort of like free network protection from, DDoSes and things that we get. We've got tremendous amounts of, work that we do around CDN management, not just AWS, but we work with thousands of CDNs. And AWS has been a great partner. We talk about things that are coming up next year, what we think the forecast is going to be, and AWS is right there helping us from a compute standpoint or helping us navigate different services we maybe haven't been using, and so it's been good.
What's the cyber part of this? Like, I imagine when you're AWS and NFL, the bullseye on you is pretty big, right?
Yeah.
What's managing just the security part of that like?
Yeah, I mean, primarily AWS, right? That's one of the benefits we get of being hosted in AWS is, all that sort of like network protection that comes built in. We're able to really take advantage of that.
Yeah, and you talked about innovation, and so the one thing I know about the NFL and AWS is neither organization is happy standing still.
Yeah.
And so if you look out, maybe into next year or a couple years, what are some of the things you're thinking about bringing to Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about some of the stuff we've done. You've seen very recently we've talked about Prime Insights, and so now we're sort of doubling down on the AI work that we've been doing in the background for, like, say, things like defensive alerts, where we can really help fans, whether they're new fans or whether they're like really deep stats-heavy fans, understand like what the coaches are seeing, what the players are seeing, how they're thinking about the game to get people deeper. And so I think, areas like generative AI, there's just a wealth of things that we can do. But we also don't want to just like throw math on the screen. We don't want to do something just because, this is novel and interesting. We want to make sure it really resonates with customers. And I think that's where our customer-centric, culture is really helpful in trying to work backwards from what things do we think are going to resonate with customers. Let's try it. Let's see how it does. If it does great. Let's just double down on that and continue to grow. So I think generative AI in general is pretty transformative. And I think, in our CX, as we like think about features, it can help us, deliver even more excitement for fans.
Yeah, and how much of the thought process too is around the casual fan or maybe the one that's not? I mean, for hardcore football fans, they're going to watch no matter what, right? But even I noticed when you put up defensive alerts and things, it's almost educational in process, right?
That's right.
So the goal there, I'm assuming, is to increase the appeal of the game to people that maybe aren't fans.
Yeah, and we think about that end to end. Like even our production team, we're assembling a great cast of storytellers, and they're really trying to help our fans, like educate them on the game, help them understand how it actually works, what's important, entertain them while they're there. So whether you're a casual fan or a deep fan, we really think broadly because there isn't one type of customers, many customers. We give the stats heavy people like me, Prime Vision, where I can see every single play that's going on, and it's great, but that's not for everybody. And so our main feed is where we kind of see, hey, this is like what the majority of people want. And so when we build things like defensive alerts, we might try them out in Prime Vision, and then we feel really good and we get good feedback. Hey, maybe this should be in the Prime, feed that we do, the main feed that we do, so that other customers, can see that and really engage with it and sort of learn more about football on a deeper level.
And that must be an advantage too, because you're cloud-based. You can try things out.
Yeah.
And then if they're not popular, you just get rid of them and bring something else in.
Yeah, or it turns into something else.
Yeah.
You're always continuously learning. So yeah.
Yeah, where I think to do that in a more traditional media production would be very expensive, and you better dot every I and cross every T before you do it.
Big
That's
investment.
fascinating. All right. Well, anything else you want to add?
No, I appreciate you coming. I hope you go to the game tonight.
Yeah, I'm certainly going to the game tonight.
Hope the Seahawks win, especially DK. He's on my fantasy team.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Victoria, BC, so I grew up a Seahawks fan all the way back to the Jim Zorn, Dave Craig days. Yeah. And you're from Seattle yourself, right?
No, I'm not. Army brat. It'd take too long to tell all the places, but I lived here for 5 years.
So do you have a favorite player?
I mean, DK right now. Today is my favorite player because I need the points.
Okay, well, fair enough then.
Yeah.
So on behalf of Eric Orme, I'm Zeus Caraval from ZK Research, and thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on my next episode of Zcast.